Hi you guys, this is Rachel Kirkland here, the Modern Shaman, and thanks for being with me for another question and answer time on my YouTube channel. It's awesome to have you here, and if you're new, please feel free to visit my website. That's themodernshaman.net. It has everything you could want to kind of find out about what I'm into, what my sessions are like in terms of individual time with you, or what my workshops are like, my traveling schedule, and any of my other online communities, my Facebook community and live streaming there. All right, so I'm gonna jump in. If you are ready, I'm gonna read the question for today, for this week. Okay, it says, "Hi Rachel, I've been watching your videos for a few months now. Of course, you just popped up when I asked specifically for some guidance." Isn't that how spirit works? I love that. "I am extremely grateful. I want to know what your opinion is on trauma therapy." Trauma therapy. Okay, so that's our topic for today. So let's tune into that. Oop, I just saw an orb. All these videos, it's funny, this is my office space, so this is where I have my sessions, and literally I just had a session like 10 minutes ago, and here I do these videos in my off time in between sessions with people. And so there's a lot of energy kind of floating around in this room. And oftentimes people will look at the videos and they'll say, "Oh, there was an orb, I saw something float around you, or I saw this big flash of light, or you had this halo around you." And I love that people can identify energies visually and see those things floating around. But yeah, there's a lot of vibrant energy happening. Anyways, that was a total side note, total tangent. Let's get back to the more serious topic of trauma therapy. The first thing that I will say, trauma therapy is just one vein of therapy, but it's an incredibly specialized area of psychiatric work. And I will say this: anytime that we seek guidance outside of ourselves, there is an aspect of us that is assigning power. It is our sovereign power, but we're assigning it to another individual in order to ask them to align in their energy with ours and give us perspective, give us healing tools from what they may have learned through their schooling, through their training, through their previous interaction with clients over the years. And so essentially we're giving them permission to help our own healing, to motivate our healing, to be a catalyst for our own healing. But make no mistake, all healing is self-healing. So it's paramount that we remember to validate our own internal guidance, our own internal wisdom and knowing above all external guidance and direction. The power is not in me as the shaman. The power is not in me as the psychic. The power is in the alignment that you have as the receiver, or as the one being healed, that gives permission, that gives alignment and totality to whatever it is that's coming through. Okay? So it's always important during the session, whether you're sitting with your psychiatrist or your healer, as they are sharing, as they are guiding, as they are asking questions and delving into aspects of the self that you're wanting to work through and process and heal, that you're always listening to that internal dialogue that has a sense of peace and alignment with what they're saying, or friction and disharmony with what's being said. Essentially, this is your internal energy, and it's noting the energy of alignment within others, within what's spoken, within the energy of the spoken word, within the energy of the information. Remember, this is all frequency based. So when you are sitting with a therapist and hearing what they say, and you're listening to your internal guidance system, there is either a sense of like yes, 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 or no, no, no. And even with spiritual advisors or therapists, you may hear a yes, 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 and be completely aligned with the modality in which they're guiding your healing. You may feel in alignment with all that's being done. And then they may say one thing that you're like, that's not in harmony with me. I don't vibe with that. I don't feel that's true. And that's okay. It doesn't devalidate everything else that was done as a healer. It just means whatever that was shared, whatever piece of information and the frequency that was given in was not in harmony with what you know to be true. The thing with healing is that the first step to be taken by any healer, therapist, counselor must be one of empowerment, personal empowerment. Otherwise, they cannot take ownership. We cannot take ownership of the information being given, and so we don't ever align and assimilate it into our own experience. It becomes something we just hear outside, and we don't actually do or see the change. And the only avenue of change can be made through us. We're the ones living the life. We are the ones waking up, eating the foods, doing the deeds. And so the change agent must be us. So that being said, any type of healing must first align and empower the individual, okay? Healing can't be done if you're in a state of victimhood, you're in a state of everything is done to me, I have no power, I have no choice, I have no sense of action. Because the day-to-day actionable energy, which is a change agent, which is what you see and experience and live through as your life, is done through you. It's not done through other people. And there's proof of this because two people can be in the same healing session, can be in the same time of therapy, of group therapy, go through and hear the same exact thing, but process it and live it out in a completely different manner. It can literally bounce right off one individual that has no sense of alignment or empowerment through those words or what was shared, and the other may completely align, feel completely empowered, and move into a stance of doing, of action, of personal choice involved in the therapy. And maybe come away with it being like, that was the most powerful thing ever. I'm completely healed. I feel transformed. When the other person was like, that was a joke, total joke, it was BS, and not at all align with it. I think first and foremost with any type of therapy, I will say you need to pay attention to what you align with. What do you feel led to do? What feels good to you? What feels like would be healthy for you? What feels like you're drawn to it as a form of healing for you? Go in those avenues of natural current and flow, because your higher self is guiding you in those directions that would bring a sense of effective and efficient healing for you. When I was trying to unblock my psychic blocks that I had put on myself as a child, and when I finally decided I wanted to unblock them, I didn't know how to do it. And I was like, where in the world do you find people that unblock psychic blocks? And at the time, there really wasn't that much out there. The internet wasn't big, YouTube wasn't big. It just, it wasn't really around. And so I asked Spirit, in what ways can I unblock this? And they said, hypnosis. And for me, at that time, the only times I had been hypnotized were some, in high school when they would do it as kind of a joke, or I would be in an event and they'd take people from the audience and bring them up on stage. I'd had that happen a couple times where I had been brought up on stage in different events and hypnotized kind of as a show, as part of a show. And it had always worked on me, but I had never thought of it in terms of traditional therapy. But that is what Spirit said would be relevant for unblocking my psychic blocks. So after Spirit said that, I had a sense of alignment with, this is what's going to work for me. Instead of, well, I don't know, somebody told me to do it, so I'm going to do it. Do you see the difference? It was a personal, sovereign energy of like, what is best for me, listening to my own internal guidance, and then stepping from there. So I already had a strong sense of knowing and believing and having that faith or that energy, whether you want to call it the placebo effect or whatever. There is an alignment and a power of healing that comes from the fact that you know that this will work for you. This is what Spirit told me would work for me. So you move into that sense of healing. And if you move into that, whether it's with trauma therapy or any type of traditional therapy, there is an alignment of your own power and your own energy that comes from you that gives permission for the healing to take place. And that is incredibly important. Another thing I will say about trauma therapy, people oftentimes fear seeing the experiences, reliving the experiences, having to talk through experiences that are incredibly difficult or painful to remember. And there's many different modalities of trauma therapy, okay? And even within those sessions, remember, you can always align with your own higher guidance of saying, this is okay for me, or this is not okay for me. All right? You still have sovereign power even in those sessions where you're being guided. It's the same with sitting with a spiritual counselor. Don't forget, even if you have asked them to give you guidance and you're in a session, you still retain sovereign free will of whether you're going to listen to that advice, whether you're going to absorb it, or whether you're going to bounce it off. That is completely in your domain of energy. So your reactionary energy, how you receive the healing, how you receive the advice and the guidance is always up to you. You guys know me. I will always come back to an energy of the heart, okay? What is your heart feeling is right for you, and who do you align with? In terms of your healer, in terms of your therapist, where is their heart? Are they sincere in the moment with you, or does it feel like it's mechanical? A lot of times when people do something and it starts to feel rote or mechanical, they're coming from a space of the mind, not the heart, okay? And a lot of times our educational system trains us in this way. We become used to doing things in a rote way or in a systematic way, and this is the way it's done, and this is the approach, and we scaffold up to this level of knowledge, and then we're here and we do. And it's okay if there's an energy of the heart in the knowledge, meaning you're aligned with it, you feel like there's a power and a strength and a personal presence in what you're doing. But if it becomes empty of that and it feels just like a method with no sense of heart in it, that's a no. There's no alignment. There's no actual energy exchange happening there, and it becomes vacant and it becomes ineffective in your field, in your energy, in your actual day-to-day interaction. Overall, I will come back to that one piece of advice, which is to always validate your internal wisdom when it comes to healing, because this is a personal process. As much as it may be facilitated by a counselor or a therapist or a healer, it is a personal process. You have to align with it, you have to believe in it, and you have to have a sense of empowerment in the practical aspects of how it's integrated into your every day-to-day life. So come from that space of your own internal wisdom, knowing that you alone are the one that has the power to heal. Whether you offer that power to another healer and ask them to help facilitate and navigate and manage that energy and channel it for you, or whether you're active within that process, it still always comes down to you. So pay attention to you, align with your heart and your highest good. It's my prayer that any and everyone that feels that they need healing, they need relief and peace and balance, that they truly receive it. I believe that if your heart is truly sincere in your desire, you will receive it. I love you guys. Mwah! Stay tuned. Next Friday, we'll do another video. Blessings.